everybody. Welcome back. This is the second episode to the New to Retro Reviews podcast. I am your host, One Big Boss. Thank you for joining me today. And speaking of joining me today, I gotta say thank you to everybody out there who retweeted my first episode. You guys are fantastic. From my teammates over at The Row and The Row moderators, and the crew over at First Aid Spray Podcast, and everybody over at Crimson Head Elder, all my friends and fans I've met along the way on various social medias. Thank you guys for sharing it. It really meant a lot to me, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it too. I really hope that first episode was good for you guys. It was kind of short, but, it's kind of hard to do these things by yourself, But, I like doing them by myself too, but as I promised in the last episode, I will be doing more of these with other people in the future. But for right now, let's get into the meat and potatoes and why you guys are here. Well, I guess not the meat and potatoes just yet. We'll get to that. But we'll start off by saying, now, we had the trailer for Final Fantasy VII come out a while ago, like the newest one, along with the Fast 9 trailer. And a lot of people seemed mixed on how these trailers actually work. Like, a lot of people feel that, much like what Hollywood does and a lot of game companies, they are showing too much in order to sell their product. And I can understand that. Coming from an advertising background, I do understand that companies, hey, we got to make money. We want this to sell. We got to prove that this is awesome. And, we want you in our seat. We want you here. We want you seeing this movie. And we want you buying the game. We want you playing the game, that kind of thing. We understand that. But how I look at it, I think they're releasing way too much. I got to agree with the masses on this. And everybody's just like, oh, well, you don't have to watch the trailer. It's like, well, folks, we live in the digital world now. Like, the minute a trailer goes up somewhere, screenshots are going to follow from it, and they're going to be all over Twitter and all over Instagram and Facebook and everything. And sure, you can go radio silent, but it doesn't change the fact that, you could be silent for a week, come back, and then you find out all this stuff is, it's already spoiled. Like, it's there still. They're still talking about it. So, in Fast 9, they revealed that John Cena's character is Vin Diesel's brother. And I think that's kind of weird to do in many ways. I really think it is because, this far along in the movies, it's kind of dumb. But it also, I guess, kind of makes sense, this trope does, because, Vin Diesel's always like, it's always about family, that kind of stuff and everything. Actually, that sounded more like a Sylvester Stallone impersonation, but I love it. But yeah, so that wasn't too bad of a reveal. I mean, I think they could have saved that for a little interesting twist, but the big twist came where the guy from the third movie, Han, who was dead, is now alive somehow. And I was just like, what is the point of going to see this movie now? Now, obviously, I guess a lot of people don't go to the Fast and the Furious movies for the plot. They go for the characters and the action, which I can respect and understand because, I grew up watching 80s and 90s action movies and stuff, and they didn't have the greatest plots, but they didn't need to have good plots in order because they delivered on the action, and the characters that were in them were very memorable and lovable. Now, I do understand, again, it just feels like they're releasing too much. But this is where I get into the next part of this, is the Final Fantasy VII trailer. They showed off Red 13. I was super stoked. But we saw a little bit too much in this trailer, I feel. They're revealing way too much in terms of characters, what's going on in certain areas. And to me, I'm just like, I don't like this, guys. This isn't, this just isn't something I feel is good. I don't think it's a good idea that you reveal too much of this. And I get it. They want these things to sell, but the Fast and the Furious movies have been around since, 99, 2000? And Final Fantasy VII is a worldwide phenomenon that's been known since 1997. So you don't need to advertise much. People are going to buy this no matter what. Like, Square could literally stop showing things now because the game is, less than 2 months away. And I think they would be fine if they did that. I really feel that they don't need to show any more. And I think that in the future, a lot of games need to do this. Because unfortunately, the other big problem is launch trailers for video games. Launch trailers end up showing way too much. And you can go radio silent and everything as much as you want. But unless you got time to devote to a brand new game, that could be like a 8 to 30 hour game and stuff, then you ain't got a chance, because some people get these games early. That's the thing you got to remember too. People either get these illegally somehow, or the people ship them to them early. And I've had people say, oh, that doesn't happen. People don't get games early. Oh, they do. One of the biggest surprises I ever got is when I got Operation Raccoon City, the collector's edition. I literally got that 4 days before the game came out, and me and my buddies were actually able to connect and play online together. And there were actually other people playing it. So don't tell me that it can't happen, because it can. All I'm saying is, once the games are out, now I can understand if it's a brand new game in many ways, because you're probably not going to remember everything you see from the trailer in the game, but it's an established franchise. You don't need to show as much as you do. I guess that's what I'm trying to get across here. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. So we got to also talk about something else that's been bugging me too. Demo discs, or more so just video game demos in general. Are they outdated? Do we need them anymore? My personal opinion, nah. We don't need them, ladies and gentlemen. I feel that these things do more harm than they do good. Now, originally back in the day, how you got your hands on a brand new game was you bought the game. Or if, you'd go out and you get a magazine from the store. I remember when I was a kid and I used to have to go to the store all the time with my parents, and I would just go to the area where there were magazines and I would look through video game magazines the whole time. It was really good. And I had a lot of fun doing that. And then sometime in the future, we got discs with the magazines. And that was like a whole new ball game. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm getting a demo disc? What? Are you serious? This is going to be great. And it was true. Like, I got, oh my God, it was so cool. Like, you'd get demo discs and they would mean the world to you, and they made you hype for the game. I remember one of the best demo discs I ever got was a PlayStation one, where it had games like Armored Core, Parappa the Rapper, IntelliCube, Ray Storm. That was another one. There was a lot of other ones on there, too. I can't remember them 100%. Oh, wait, was Twisted Metal 2 on there? No, Twisted Metal 2 wasn't on that one, I don't think. But I really did love those things because they really made you want to buy these games in the future. But now, a demo gets released digitally, and people data mine the hell out of them, and they're spoiling them everywhere. And I'm just like, no, guys, you don't need to do this. Like, stop. Like, maybe they're doing it for clout. Maybe they're doing it so they can be, hey, I'm that asshole that leaked everything and stuff. It's on the demo and stuff that you don't actually ever get to see. But I found the data. It's later on in the game, so it's happening. Which I don't understand why stuff that happens later in a game is on a demo, of all things, when you can't even play that part that they're spoiling. I never understood that. I feel that the best way to get people interested in this, especially if it's games from a popular series, is to go to things like GameStop or go to Walmart or go to Best Buy or go to team up with local retro game stores or other video game stores in areas that are popular and bring the company there with a couple of kiosks so that people can try the demos of the games and stuff, or at conventions. That's your best bet to do that stuff. Now, I understand it costs money and it's cheaper to put out a demo, but then, all the hard work you're doing is just getting spoiled. Again, there was a time where demo discs were the coolest damn thing in the world, but unfortunately now it's just not so. It's not that at all. It's a world of digital information now, and people don't want to be spoiled by stuff, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be spoiled by a lot of things too. Resident Evil 3, I feel, is going to get spoiled for me before I'm able to beat it. So when that game drops at midnight or whenever it unlocks, you can bet your butt that I'm going radio silence, and I am going to stream it and everything, but, I'm going to just enjoy the game for what it is. Moving on to the next thing. This is an interesting one. Games I'm looking forward to in 2020. First, right off the bat, like I just spoke about, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. How can I not want to love this game? I was so stoked when it was actually a real thing, because everyone's like, oh, it's happening. It's like, look, until I see an official trailer or word from Capcom or something like that, I don't believe it. And then, after seeing that trailer, oh my God, that was so beautiful. Like, it was great. It was awesome. And then they released another one, and it was good. And I'm just like, you know what? I feel like they're showing a little too much in this, but I don't think we need any more. I think we're good here. Just run with what you have, and do it. And I can't wait for that game, guys. I'm going to pump so many hours into it. Next up is obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake. That is another one because Final Fantasy VII is a game that actually means a lot to me. A lot of people are like, oh, it's overhyped, oh, it's stupid, oh, it's this, it's that. But I really enjoy Final Fantasy VII because the characters back then, I was actually able to understand their personalities pretty well, Like, this was a time before voice acting was really in video games, ladies and gentlemen. And this was something where you had to read what the characters were saying to get their whole sense of who they are and what they are. People used to assume back in the day that Tifa was like, she's a sex icon and everything, but they used to think that she was like a whore or something like that. They always like put her in like sexual like things where she's like domineering and all that stuff. And if you really like listen to how she speaks and how she not how she speaks, but like read how she speaks in the game, you understand she's not like that. And I mean, Aerith is the one who's really bad. She's kind of a pervert in many ways. She's the one that I would see doing all the horrible things that artists have drawn Tifa doing to people and stuff, honestly. But yeah, no, Final Fantasy VII, it was one of the games that taught me how to read and write better, because I was not taught properly in school because of my learning disability, and teachers just kind of used me as an example instead of actually helping me, so it's just like, oh, yeah, well, thanks, assholes, I appreciate that, go fuck yourself. But RPGs did help me a lot. Things like Earthbound and Chrono Trigger really helped. Breath of Fire 3 was a big help in me at reading. And of course, Final Fantasy VII was the biggest because I was so more absorbed in that world that I really paid attention to how people were speaking in it and how the punctuation was going in it. It was really interesting. I liked it. I really did. I loved everything about the game, and I'm really excited for this. I'm not worried about it at all, honestly. I don't think it's going to flop in any ways. I think it's going to be different, but they're still going to keep what we loved about it intact. Next up, we've got... What's this? I can't even read my own writing. Last of Us Part 2. Now, I love The Last of Us. I actually did not complete that on the PS3 originally. Like, I started it, and I got pretty far-ish in the game. But the problem was, my PS3 had crashed back in, I believe, 2013 it was, or 2012. And, yeah, so that kind of caused a lot of problems right there. So I got eventually a code and played The Last of Us on the PS4, and honestly, I really did enjoy the game. I liked it. I thought it was a bit repetitive at a lot of things. A lot of people give me crap about this. I don't think it's, like, as great as people say it is. Like, people really hype this game up. When you really look at it, like, it's really more so the acting and the characters that people love. It's not so much, the actual gameplay people enjoy. It's the story of the characters. And I love how people, like, would always complain about, Hideo Kojima games and stuff. And then, like, something like Death Stranding having too much, emphasis on characters and talking and cutscenes. And I'm just like, well, The Last of Us has that too. Why are you giving that one a pass? Just because it's like everybody's hyping it up? Again, I don't think it's a bad game, ladies and gentlemen. I love the original. But I am interested to see how the second one goes. Because honestly, it just... It's been a while. And I think because it wasn't pumped out in 2 years or 3 years, and they took their time with it, I think that's where the game is going to shine. I think that's why it's going to be really good. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but... next up, Dying Light 2. I was super late to the party with this game, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you wouldn't believe it, man. Like, I missed out on this game, and I hate myself for missing out as early as I did, because this game is one of my favorite zombie games. It's so much fun. I love the fact that the main character is voiced by the guy who does Chris Redfield, Roger Craig Smith. I think that he did a phenomenal job as the main character. I think the quests that you go on in this, like the side quests, they're fun. Sometimes it might seem repetitive, but you always have a good time doing it, and there's special times during the day where you gotta go do things. There's, twists and turns. There's all this kind of crazy stuff you do in the game, and I love it. It's really a true zombie experience, in my opinion, and I really love what they did with this game, and I'm hoping that the sequel can recapture that magic in this, because it's really such a good game, and I'd hate to see the second one bomb, but I don't think so, honestly. I think they understand what they have to do in order to make this a game that people are really going to enjoy and love. So, Dying Light 2 is definitely on the list. I'm hoping we play it over on the row at one point because you can play it together. And I found out that you can play Dying Light 4 players in the main campaign or something like that. So, if that's the case, I mean, me and the team should probably get on that at one point. Streets of Rage 4. What can I say? I love beat 'em ups. Love them to death. They're fun. They're fantastic. I love them all. I really wish, honestly, that, this would have came out a lot sooner. I kind of would have loved to have seen a fourth one on the Sega Genesis back in the day, or even maybe the Dreamcast. That would have been really awesome to see it on the Dreamcast. But I understand, sometimes companies just forget IPs exist, or they don't want to take chances on them. But I think a lot of the games that were being advertised that are beat 'em ups, people realized, oh my god, this is something that people want still. People like this stuff still. Hey, we have something sitting in our basement. Can we do this? So I'm kind of hoping that, I've seen this game in action, and it's fun, but I gotta tell you, I really miss that old style graphics, but it'll grow on me. I loved games like The Takeover and River City Girls, and of course, this, I guarantee you, is going to lead into something, ladies and gentlemen. I feel that if this does what it does, because Streets of Rage has always been like pretty much the most popular beat 'em up other than like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, but we might see a resurgence in Final Fight. I would love that. I don't know if that's going to happen, but Capcom seems to be on the ball with a lot of their IPs lately, whether they be old and new. I really feel that they could bring this back and actually have it do well. Maybe like a smaller kind of release, kind of like how Strider was done. Maybe if Capcom doesn't want to work on it in-house, get somebody who does beat 'em ups really good, like, Way Forward. They've proved themselves in the past with Capcom with DuckTales Remastered. I know it's not a beat 'em up, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I think that would do really good, so yeah. Streets of Rage 4, looking forward to it. I want to play that with friends, so I hope one of my friends get it, but I believe it has online, they said, too. So I'll probably get one of my online friends to help if any of my friends locally can't come for that. Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. Looking forward to that game because, well, JJ and I started playing that game on the road YouTube, and it was a lot of fun. It was scary. I think it was scarier than Until Dawn was. Like, they did jump scares pretty well in this game, I feel. A lot of people, crap on jump scares and a lot of stuff on how horror things do. But as someone who's really easily scared but can still analyze, like, when it's good and bad, I think they did a good job. I don't think there was a problem with it like a lot of people are saying, so I think the first game is really good. We sadly didn't get to beat it, but we're hoping to change that maybe in the future, but I can't wait to play this next one. I really hope it's as scary as the next one. Like I said, I don't do horror well at all. I have nightmares from stuff like this. So if you want me to be scared on stream and everything like that, me closing my eyes and stuff, well, closing my eyes behind my sunglasses anyway, then yeah, tune in for those because yeah, you'll see me scream like a little girl. And let's see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to things like Doom Eternal as well. I'm not the biggest Doom guy because I never really beat any of the Doom games other than Doom 2016 and, was it Doom 3 on the Xbox I beat. All the other ones I never beat. Never did. So I'm looking forward to that. Really hoping that in any case I do play it on stream. I hope I have a lot of fun because Doom 2016 was kind of like a fighting game to me in many ways. This is what I mean by a fighting game. When I play a fighting game, I can just pop it in, play for a little bit, have fun, and de-stress. I feel that Doom will do the same thing because Doom 2016 kind of did that. I got a lot of laughs out of it, just like on how you kill the demons and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun, so we'll see, but yeah, looking forward to that game. So let's see, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to talk about next? Let's see. Oh, that's right. Wonderful 101. Dudes, let me tell you right now, I am stoked for this game coming back, okay? The Wonderful 101 is one of those games by Platinum that didn't get a lot of love because it was on the Wii U. And I'm really suggesting to Nintendo and all the other third-party companies that they worked with to make games, even though third-party companies weren't really that big of a thing to Nintendo during the Wii U era, work together and release your entire database of, games that you have for the Switch. Just do it because you're gonna make money off of it. Mario Kart alone on the Switch has sold amazing. It outbeat the Wii U, even though the Wii U one did pretty well from what I remember correctly. But yeah, you would make so much money by bringing all these other titles. And the Wonderful 101 is proof of that. Within 13 hours, they got over $1 million to fund this game. They have multiple tiers and everything like that. Like, for you donating, so you get a physical copy and a bunch of stuff. I'm going to back it as soon as I can because The Wonderful 101 is a game that's just filled with a lot of charm and funny stuff. And if you like games like Beautiful Joe and Pikmin or, like all stuff like that, like, it's really a game that you got to play. Again, trying to explain Platinum games is really tough, honestly, because, like, they're all so weird and over the top and wacky. And they're great. That's the best thing I can say is, like, Platinum is one of the best third-party developers out there. And I'm glad to see that they're making this dream become a reality. Because, let's face it, guys. There's a lot of games that only make it on one system and then nothing else. Look at Windjammers. Windjammers was in the arcade, and I think, like, the original, like, Neo Geo or something like that back in the day. And if you wanted the cartridge for Windjammers, it was like $4,000 friggin' on eBay last time I checked. This was a couple years ago. And then, limited run game comes out and everything. They give us physical copies, and then, everybody else involved to make the game actually digital on everything else came out, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm playing this on my PlayStation Vita. I'm playing this on my PS4. This is unreal. What era am I living in? We've got Windjammers again, and it's great to see these things get an extra life in many ways because there's so many games that are good, and they're never on any other systems, or they're hard to get on other systems. Look how long it took Nintendo to get Earthbound to, like, the Wii U, like, the Virtual Console and everything. That was tough, man. That took them a long time, and we don't want to see games go by the wayside, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to see bad things like that. We won't want to see games we love just get forgotten about and then not be able to play anymore. Now, obviously, yeah, there is emulation, but the problem with emulation is it's not a 100% guarantee on a lot of things here, you know? It really isn't, and it's kind of a bummer, but... Because I've played some great things on emulation, but then the emulator will crash, and I have to restart it, and it's not good. Now, one of the things that I love is when you can get the games for good prices. Like, I love finding games for good prices, but yeah, guys, like, companies got to start doing that. I mean, Capcom seems to have no problem porting Resident Evil 4 to every system since its debut back in, like, 2005. Every system and some kind of handheld, you know, or phone or whatever has gotten some version of Resident Evil 4. And I always found it funny, and I make the jokes about it. I mean, we all make the jokes about it. We all make the jokes about Skyrim being ported a million times. But at the end of the day, when you really look at it, you're glad to get those games because, you know, sometimes you might not have that old system anymore. Sometimes you traded that old system in for a new system. So that could be what it is, you know? Like, that could be really something that, I don't know, like, people need. And I feel that, because, I mean, everybody does that. Nobody stops to think to save their old systems in case they don't like the new one. And I saw so many people trading in their PS3s for a PS4, which, again, not a bad idea because the PS4 is a good system, but, you know, think about all the things you're losing when you have a PS3, especially if it was one of the older ones. You lose the ability for backwards compatibility on PS2 games. Like, you know, you pop the PS2 game in and it works. You can still play PS1 on the newer PS3 systems, but still, it's not the same. Sometimes you want to play some PS2 games, you know? And that's what's terrible. I saw these people bringing these things into, like, GameStop and other game stores I was visiting, and they had, like, 30 games, like 4 controllers. I remember, oh my god, I can't remember what the store was at. What store was this one? Crap, I can't remember. I think it was a GameStop somewhere. And it was a GameStop. That's right, it was, because I was telling about how I used to work for the company and everything, and they were, like, super chill to me and really nice. This dude comes in, trades his PS3 in, and he's got a bunch of games for this thing, right? I'm talking, like, 60 games, folks. He had, like, a stack of these damn things. And they weren't, like, throwaway sports titles and stuff like that. I saw things, like, what was that? Like, that WWE or All-Star Wrestling thing where all, like, the characters looked, like, super jacked even more they already are in real life. I saw things like that. I saw things like Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Sigma 2, Persona 4 Arena. I saw, like, Red Dead Redemption. Like, all the Uncharted games were on there. Oh my god, was Yakuza 4 was one of them. That's right. Wet was another one of them too. That was on there. Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, that was on there as well. I saw Sonic Mania, The Sims, Saints Row. I saw so many games that this guy had in his collection. Now, obviously, I would be like, hey, I'll buy some of those games off you. But I already had all those games that I mentioned. And a lot of the other games I saw, I just didn't look interesting. But I was like, oh my god, like, this dude's really doing this. He's gonna do this for the PS4. I can't understand it. Why would you do this? And he did. And I just couldn't understand it. Oh my god, that's what it was. He had Resident Evil like 5, 6 in Operation Raccoon City. And I just saw that, and I even asked him, I was like, "No, did you like the Resident Evil games?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I love these ones and everything like that, but I'm trying to, you know, put all this towards the PS4." And I just, like, it struck me hard. I was just like, "Oh my god," because as a guy who collects, you're just like, why would you do that? Why would you just throw away everything for a brand new system? I mean, yeah, sure, it's probably a lot of the games you're trading in and everything like that. You're gonna get something for the trade-in value and everything or trading it towards the console for the deals, but. Man, like, I mean, how bummed out he must have been when he got that PS4 and realized you can't play games from the PS3 on the PS4 or get the old ones at the time, and there wasn't really much at the launch of the PS4 either. Like, I bet that guy was ticked. I would have loved to come into the store that day or see him back there and be like, hey, how'd that PS4 go that you traded your whole life into, you know? Again, like, if you want to trade your collections, fine. But, folks, let me tell you something. If you're going to trade your video game collections in at any time or anywhere, try to go to your friends who collect these things, right? or something like that. Give it to the people that you know would want the collection, or at least the controllers or something, something where they're going to be taken care of by people like me who obsessively collect video games. I don't do it as much anymore, I will admit that, so that's also a good thing that I don't blow my money on games as much as I used to. I think maybe it's because games have just become too expensive, like retro games. Now, PS3 games and 360 games, they're dirt cheap, like really dirt cheap. And those are fun to go back and collect when you see really good ones for low prices that are like well under $10. Hell, well under $8. So, yeah. I guess the next thing... Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, the big thing. The big friggin' thing, people, is Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Capcom presents. Ladies and gentlemen, it's back. For its 20th anniversary, MVC2 is going to be on the main stage at EVO. It is one of the 9 games chosen to be on that big screen to be seen around the world. This is amazing, because if any of you who don't know, if you haven't been on this channel long enough, you got to know that I am a huge fan of fighting games, and I love Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, MVC2, it's broken. Like, really bad. It's badly broken with the characters, but you know what? That was every fighting game before patches and stuff like that, A lot of characters were busted and broken and couldn't be used properly, or they were used the wrong way to where they would just be cheap as hell. But over the years, since MVC2 was getting harder to find on, PS2, Xbox, Dreamcast, and the PS3 and 360 versions got taken down because of the licensing issues and stuff, so you can't get them anymore. I think you can re-download them if you lose the system, but you get what I'm saying. It was a nightmare. So people, I think, worked a lot harder to show Capcom and Disney. It's like, hey, people still love this game, and then you're seeing all this new stuff, all this crazy stuff people are making, all these videos about MVC2 combos and like using characters, like even using low-tier characters to do crazy stuff. That was amazing. It was stuff like that I was just like, my God, this game is beautiful and fun, and I'm glad it still exists. I'm glad I still have it on my PS3. I am bummed out I didn't get it on my 360, though. I kind of decided not to get it for the last couple days, and I regret doing it. But yeah, having this back at EVO, this is probably going to be the most watched event at EVO because, again, like I said earlier, this is the 20th anniversary of MVC2. And people are like already speculating. I made a video about it as well. That's like, hey, oh man, like this game's coming out and stuff. Maybe we could do something with it. My whole thing is like, I hope that they bring back MVC2. I really hope they do. In ways where it's just like, hey, you're gonna be able to play this on your PS4. You could play it on Steam. You could play it on Xbox One. And for an added feature, we're showing it off right here on the Nintendo Switch. Do that, man. Like, give me Marvel on the go, and I will be freaking happy. But they have been working with the Arcade 1-Up guys to where they put the arcade machines out. And they got, X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, and the Punisher Beat-em-up game, which is, they worked with Capcom for all these things. So it makes me believe they could be warming up to something. So great. Here's my theory. Here's my ultimate theory and my ultimate grand wish here after grand finals happen at EVO 2020. The end of MVC2, the winner's crowned, guy comes out on stage and everything like that, and he's like, I'm glad you're all gathered here, but we got one last thing for you. Everything just goes dark, and all of a sudden you hear Capcom presents, and then right there on the screen, MVC2 for next generation consoles. If they did that, they would win so many people over. So many people would go back and download that game, okay? Now, I think in tournaments, though, they actually use the Dreamcast version, because I think that's the best version or something. I think that's the one they use the most. So, there's going to be people excited about that if that's what they use, because if that is the best one. Because I don't know how good the PS3 one is. Like, I never did super research into it. I just played it. But, man, if you did that, and Street Fighter V at the end of their grand finals, and it's, they throw out Street Fighter 6 is coming, and then, then all of a sudden after the Street Fighter 6, like, the guy starts talking and things go black, and then lightning flashes on the screen or something, and then you have saying Darkstalkers is back, anything, if you just had that, people would lose their mind. This could be the greatest EVO of all time if these three things are happening. Now, obviously, their pipe dreams are a long shot, but I feel that the MVC2 one is your best bet, honestly. And I really hope we do see that at the end, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. because if we don't, I'm gonna be so mad. But again, I have all these things, like I have MVC2 on what do you call it there? The Dreamcast, the Xbox, the PS2, and my PS3, and so yeah, there's ways to get it. It might cost a pretty penny, but it's a game that I feel is worth it. It's got a roster, honestly, that's more legendary than any other fighting game, I really feel. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was a lot of fun, and, other crossover games like SNK versus Capcom versus SNK 2, and, even SNK 1, those were good. But I think that MVC2 just really nailed everything that you wanted in these games. And, yeah, so hopefully that really is something that happens. Next on this thing, this is actually a thing that I'm going to be doing every episode, and it's called, it's a poll. So on my Twitter, which, as you can see the logo in the screen here, it's 1_big_boss, one big boss, right there on Twitter. You can go to that, and you can vote when I have the polls up, and every poll will be answered every week in the podcast. So for this week, for a question, I have given you 3 choices, and the 3 choices that came out to be were games I would want to create, games I wish I had, and animes I don't like. Now, the funny thing was the first 2 came out at 41%, and the third one came out at 18%. I had 17 people vote for that. So I'm going to toss it up here, and I'm going to go with games I want to create. I'll probably save the games I wish I had for another one, because I really need to think about that one a lot more than I have. I thought I was going to do that one, then I was just like, nah, there's other games I do want. So, for this week's question, games I want to create. A lot of people would instantly suggest, he wants to create a fighting game. Without a doubt, he wants a fighting game. And honestly, you'd be right, but at the same time, you're wrong. There's, action games like how Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry work are amazing games, and I've always loved those. And I would love to make an action game that's so hype and badass and everything like that. It would just be perfect, if I could do something that amazing. So eventually, I really just boiled it down to, I want to make a beat-em-up game. And people are like, what? You want to make a beat-em-up game? Why? And it's just, I love beat-em-ups. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games are a lot of fun for what they are. And things like Final Fight are pretty good. And Streets of Rage are, oh my god, Streets of Rage are just amazing to play. I mean, not so much the third one is really, that one's still good. But, yeah, I just love them to death. They're so much fun because they're simple, and you can tell good stories. Like I said, the game The Takeover was a lot of fun. And if you really want to beat 'em up bundle and everything like that, get the Capcom one that came out. That thing has things like, Final Fight, Captain Commando, The King of Dragons, Knights of the Round, Warriors of Fate, Battle Circuit, and what was the other one? Armored Warriors was the other one. That was the other one. But man, that was such a good bundle that they did because, a lot of people saw that and they're like, wait, Capcom made games like this? What is this? And they did. I was really bummed out that on that beat 'em up bundle, we didn't get the Alien versus Predator one or whatever it was, that was kind of the Predator beat 'em up game was something I think that should have been in there, honestly, and it wasn't. And I think that's a huge, huge mistake not throwing that in because that's a good one and it's really hard to play in various different, settings because it was never released off of the arcade except if you want to get that giant Capcom arcade stick. Oh god, I wish I had bought that, man. I really wish I bought that damn thing. But yeah, like I said, beat 'em ups are the games I want to create because me and my friends, all of us have trained in some form of martial arts or are just really strong and grew up in an era where, playing games like these were a lot of fun. They were quarter munchers in the arcades and you just had a blast. The Simpsons beat 'em up game. The Simpsons arcade, that's another good one. Same with X-Men, the arcade game. That's fun. We pumped so many quarters into that. We would have money and we'd get there and we're pumping quarters in. We'd send my little buddy's cousin and we'd be like, Danny, go, get more quarters. Go. You died first. Go. Here's the money. Go. And it was awesome, man. It was great. So maybe it's a nostalgia thing or something like that, but beat 'em ups are just fun because you can take these characters and give them different attributes, you can give them different stats, that kind of thing, and have them be really fun, cool characters. And when I saw that Streets of Rage over the years was never coming back and beat 'em ups started being really kind of a less and less deal, it really made me think, hey, I want to create my own beat 'em up game. I think we can do it. Let's do this. But obviously, it never came about because I don't know anybody who can do stuff like that for a beat 'em up. But honestly, that's the game I would choose. It would actually be a game, a beat 'em up game. It would be an action game, and then it would be a fighting game. Those are the three things that I would create. And for each one, it would have to have an epic soundtrack, because soundtracks can help make a game, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't got a good soundtrack, sometimes your games can just feel blah, like really blah. It can happen. But yeah, so that is the question for this week. Like I said, I will throw up that game. Maybe I'll answer that next week, or I'll throw it up there in another one if people really want to hear what games I wish I had. Because again, I have to figure out which ones exactly that I do want, because I said I had a list, and then I was just like, oh my god, wait, there's more. Wait, oh crap, wait, are these ones? So, that kind of deal. Either way, guys, that pretty much does it for this episode, for this week's podcast. Episode 2 is pretty much one and done, so I greatly appreciate you guys coming out and taking the time to listen. So if you could please thumbs up and subscribe, because in this day and age, it's, a good thing because it's free, and like I always say, free is a damn good thing. As always, everybody, thank you for listening to me. My name is One Big Boss, and I will see you all next time.